Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Emma and I help people to heal from chronic dizziness such as triple PD. If you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you want to see more videos that can help you to heal from dizziness. And if you like the video, please like it because it will help it to reach more people. In this video today, I'm going to be explaining what neuroplasticity is and how you can use it to help you to make a full recovery from your chronic dizziness symptoms. I'm also going to be explaining why you never need to get rid of your dizziness symptoms. And I'm also going to be explaining a really popular neuroplasticity saying, what fires together wires together, and how you can use this to help you on your dizziness recovery. So what is neuroplasticity? Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to adapt and change throughout your life. The neural pathways in your brain aren't permanent or fixed, and you can rewire your brain in accordance to your environment. So every time you experience something new or you perceive something differently, the neural pathways in your brain can rewire themselves or create new neural pathways. So in the context of dizziness, you can literally rewire your brain so that you no longer experience dizziness sensations. So what does dizziness have to do with your brain and neuroplasticity? Well, for those of you that have medically unexplained chronic dizziness, where all of your medical tests have come back clear, so that could be a diagnosis of triple PD, MDDS, vestibular migraine, functional neurological disorder, neural circuit dizziness. What that means is when all of your medical tests have come back clear, so there's no physical explanation for your dizziness, what's happening is it's a processing problem coming from within the brain. So there's nothing physically wrong with the structures of your brain, your ears, your eyes, or your vestibular system. What's happening is there's a communication mismatch where your brain is not effectively communicating between the neurons, and the result of that is dizziness. So it's a processing problem coming from within your brain, and that can be exacerbated by stress and anxiety. So I'm going to give you guys a really basic neuroplasticity example so that you can understand how neuroplasticity is responding to your environment all the time. So most of us live quite repetitive lives. So we wake up in the morning, we have the same sort of morning routine, we drive to work the same way, we have a lot of the same conversations with the same people, we come home and then we have the same evening routine and we go to bed. So from a neuroplasticity point of view, there's not too much new information that's going into the brain, and a lot of what we're doing is just strengthening existing pathways within our brain. Now, let's say you start a new job and you need to drive a different route to work. So it's over the other side of town. It's somewhere that you've never been before. So you need the sat nav. The job that you're starting is a job that you've never done before. So you need full training. So it's not something that you can pick up easily, and you need to write a lot of notes down to help you to remember how to do your new job. You're also going to be meeting new people, having new conversations and new experiences related to your new job. And then you need to drive home at the end of the day, and maybe you need to drive a different way home. So all of this is going to be new information. So when you start your new job, through the process of neuroplasticity, new neural pathways will be created in your brain to be able to store that new experience of your new job. Now, as time goes on, through repetition, you'll no longer need the sat nav to get to work anymore because you'll automatically remember which way to go. You also won't need to refer to the notes that you've wrote down for your new job, and you'll be able to just automatically do your job competently as time goes on. Now, also, it's important to note that you never need to unlearn the information from your old job. You'll just find that as time goes on, you just start to forget that automatically. So through the process of neuroplasticity, your brain has decided that that old information at your old job is no longer important, and that those neural pathways over time will weaken and weaken and weaken. Until you no longer remember a lot of information from your old job. Of course, there will still be some information that you remember, but things like passwords you may forget as time goes on. So using that example, it's important to remember why you never need to get rid of your chronic dizziness symptoms. This is something that will happen automatically as time goes on when you're no longer placing focus and attention on it, when your brain can really truly understand that the dizziness is not important and it's not dangerous. So you never need to focus on getting rid of your chronic dizziness symptoms in exactly the same way as you don't need to forget or unlearn any of the information from your old job. It happens automatically. Now, I understand that being able to start a new job and forget about your old job is going to be much easier than forgetting about your chronic dizziness. And I understand that this is because there is a strong emotional reaction to the dizziness that you're experiencing. So by that, I mean a lot of people experience associated fear and anxiety around their dizziness symptoms. So a big part about healing from chronic dizziness is really addressing the association that you have with your chronic dizziness symptoms. So working on the fear and reducing the anxiety that you have around that. But the process of neuroplasticity will happen automatically as you start to work through these things. It's not something that you need to focus on. So in my opinion, I believe that in order to successfully make a full recovery from your chronic dizziness, you need to be implementing a top-down, bottom-up, outside-in approach to healing. Now, in my next video, I'm going to be giving you guys a load of information about what this actually means. But for the purpose of the video today, it's basically being able to treat yourself as a whole person. So finally, I want to explain a really popular neuroplasticity saying, which is what fires together, wires together, and what this actually means. So what fires together, wires together is referring to the brain being able to make associations between two or more different things. So it has fired and wired those two associations so that those pathways can activate at the same time. So an example of this would be dizziness and anxiety. So for a lot of people, when you first started experiencing the dizziness, you probably likely had associated fear and anxiety with that. Maybe because you had no idea what the dizziness was and where it was coming from. Or maybe it was just because you were really afraid of it when it happened. So as this happened and this reaction happened over time repetitively, what happens is that your brain automatically starts to associate the dizziness with the anxiety. So your brain has made an association between feeling dizzy and anxious at the same time, and it has literally fired and wired those two things together. So as time goes on and through repetition, the dizzy and anxious associations become stronger, which means that you'll start to experience them more automatically. So how can you use this firing and wiring process to your advantage? And this really comes down to for you to be able to associate more positive associations with your dizziness. And the number one thing that people with chronic dizziness need to experience is safety. People with conditions like triple PD, the number one thing they need is to feel safe inside their body. So how can you start to associate dizziness with safety? So you can work on reducing the fear. So you can work on reducing the anxiety. You can also work on changing your perception of the dizziness. So retraining your brain through neuroplasticity that the dizziness is actually safe. And you can also focus on feeling your desired sensations while you're feeling dizzy. So it's absolutely possible to be able to feel dizzy and calm at the same time, or dizzy and happy. And I know that dizziness is usually the most dominant sensation, but it doesn't mean that you don't have access to other more positive feelings as well at the same time. So I would encourage you that next time you feel really dizzy, see if you can find a part of your body that feels more steady and still. And if you tell yourself that you can't find those other sensations, then you probably won't. So you need to kind of go on a path of self-exploration and self-discovery to be able to sit with yourself and really try to find the parts of your body that feel more how you want to feel. And if you're still struggling with that, then I would encourage you to find things that you're grateful for and that you appreciate. So gratitude and appreciation are really strong, powerful emotions that can help our body to feel safe when we experience them. Finally, you can use your senses to create safety in your nervous system. So one thing that I did was when I was at work, which was somewhere where I felt really dizzy all of the time, was I came across a herbal tea called chamomile tea. And chamomile tea has been proven to be effective for reducing anxiety and helping to promote feelings of calm. So I used to drink a lot of chamomile tea throughout the day. And what I did was actually started to associate the chamomile tea with feelings of calm and reduced anxiety. And this happens through your senses. So the chamomile tea I could taste, the chamomile tea I could smell, and the chamomile tea I could also hold in the cup. I could feel the warmth from the cup. So it was quite a sensory experience. There's a lot of sensory information going on there. So also because I knew that it was evidence that it can reduce feelings of anxiety, that helped me to have new thoughts to say that if I drank the chamomile tea, it would help me to calm down. So I started to create a sense of safety using my senses through drinking the chamomile tea. Now, of course, this didn't make the dizziness go away, but it did help alleviate some of the feelings of anxiety and fear that I had. So it was just something that helped me along my journey from healing from the dizziness. So have a think about what you can do using your senses to help create feelings of calm and safety when you feel dizzy. And I would encourage you now to just sit and think about the sort of thoughts you have when you feel dizzy. What sort of feelings and emotions do you have when you feel dizzy? And what sort of environments do you associate with your dizziness? What places do you go when you feel dizzy? And when you ask yourself these questions, the answers you get back are going to be a reflection of the current neural pathways and associations that you have in your brain. So it will really give you the answers as to what you need to change and what you need to work on. So it really does come back to changing your perception of the dizziness, being able to create safety in your body and using your senses to be able to support you through that. So I hope that video was helpful, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.